and welcome to Colonial Field. Today with me is Bill Adlin and Randy Rhodes for PW Tri-Meet against Cheltenham and Springfield. Randy, who exactly are we looking at today as far as who will win the race?
Well, for PW, you'd have to say the favorite would be senior Kevin Cook, and also Matt Sandercock. He's also a senior, and look for Bill Adlin to be up there also. And for Cheltenham, they have mainly a younger team. Shane Cushion would be the favorite for them. He's a sophomore, and Jason Potts is a senior also. And for Springfield, they also have a very young team. The favorite for them would be Joe Vasquez. He's a sophomore, and also Jeff Baxter, who's a freshman.
Okay, and there was the start of the race right there. Kevin Cook jumps right out in front. Matt Sandercock is right behind him, and
looks like Ron Phillips from PW starting out to a quick start here. Hope he doesn't run out of steam.
What exactly do you think of your team? How are you doing this year, Bill? And what exactly is the course like here?
Well, this year's probably a rebuilding year. We have two stars on the team, Kevin and Matt. Last year we had a really good team, but a few of our seniors graduated, and we don't have depth this year. Last year we had a lot of depth. This year we're strong up front, but in the back it's not too strong. And coming up here, you see a map of the race. At the first triangle is the first camera, which is at the end of the soccer field. The second camera, which will be coming up in the upper right of your screen, is Mariana Hill. Third camera position at the end of Miles Park, which is in the bottom of your screen. And the fourth camera position is at the end of the track, in the middle of the screen at the finish line. This is a 2.9-mile course, and it's considered one of the easier ones in the league.
Well, there's Kevin. He's way out in front here. Looks as if he's going to have a good race.
This is the Mariana Hill portion. It's about 1 mile into the race.
And that's the second camera position.
Looks like comes Matt Sandercock. He's pretty close behind Kevin.
Matt's having a very good race. Usually, in previous races, he was a minute or so behind Kevin. This race, he seems to be a lot closer.
Mariana Hill seems to be a tough portion of the course. Appears as if you could gain some ground on some people on Mariana or something. Just in what perspective is Mariana compared to other courses? Is it a tough hill or?
Mariana is a very tough hill. It's the hardest part on our course, and you are right about passing people. If you go into Mariana Hill with the right attitude, pumping your arms and saying you can pass people, a lot of people get tired on the hill, and you're able to pick up a lot of time.
There we see some competition going on there.
We see Bill Adlin. There's a shot of Miles Park. It's Kevin Cook coming down the hill.
This is camera number 3. Kevin's still out in front. Matt is probably right behind him. I'd say about 12 or 13 seconds, which is a considerable lead for Kevin.
One problem Kevin has had this year is lack of competition. Some of the teams we've raced against, he hasn't had anyone to push him in the lead spot. So when we get to competition, other than these teams that we've been racing against with teams that may have good runners, Kevin might not be ready for the push that these other runners will give him, but I'm sure he'll be able to handle that.
Well, that appears true, as Cheltenham has got some good potential. They're about 2-4 on the season, but Springfield is not competitive at all this year. And most of their team is composed of freshmen. In fact, their number 1 runner, Joe Vasquez, who is among that pack that we're seeing on the screen, probably in the background, is only a sophomore as it is.
Okay, here we see some of the other runners.
That's Ron Phillips for Plymouth-Whitemarsh, followed behind him by Roger Top for PW. And there you see in the background Andy Siegel and Neil Vaughn, also for PW.
As I said, looks like Ron Phillips did run out a little bit of steam, as he's way behind on this portion of the race.
One problem with Ron, he tries to start out too fast, and then after 100 or so yards, 200 or so yards, he loses his energy, and he can't run that fast for the rest of the race.
Kevin Cook approaching the bottom of Miles Park, and Matt Sandercock right behind him. And a few Cheltenham people also behind Matt. Looks like Shane Cushion and David Sandler among other Cheltenham runners. Here we see Mariana Hill again.
Coaches for today's meet, Tom Sexton for Cheltenham, and of course Thomas McGowan for the Plymouth-Whitemarsh cross-country team, and Mr. Brian Turner for the Springfield group.
This is Matt Sandercock approaching the bottom of the hill.
Kevin and Matt are now approaching the 2-mile mark of the race, which would be coming up, I say, in 0.3 miles or so. That's the 2-mile mark is at the beginning of the tennis courts, which is closer to the finish of the race.
2 Cheltenham runners. It's like David Sandler and Shane Cushion, close behind 3rd and 4th place. So they've come to they're nearing the, they're on Germantown Pike now. They'll have to turn around the PW tennis courts, and then it's onto the track for the finish.
Here we see a shot of a few of the other people. There's Joe Vasquez for Springfield, finishing out the Miles Park portion of the run. And here we see a few more people. This looks like a Cheltenham runner coming down.
We're getting into some near competition that probably won't have much effect on the scoring in the end. The scoring is based on placing. But for each place you scored that amount of points, and by, like, if you have first and second, you would score 3 points. So in that regard, you would want to finish higher, and the lower score will win. Appears as if PW is getting a lot of competition here against Cheltenham, but as I said earlier, Springfield is just not that competitive, and it would appear as if PW is going to beat them. Joe Vasquez is the Springfield runner, and he's number 1, and he is in about the 10th or 11th position right now. So it does not appear as if Springfield is going to give PW a problem, but PW is going to have to get some runners up there if they're going to compete with Cheltenham today.
Yeah, although they do have the top 2 runners in the race now, that's still not enough, to capture a victory. Even though you do take first and second, it doesn't guarantee that you're going to win it.
Well, Bill Adlin is giving a little help to PW here.
PW's Jason Monroe.
The main problem our team has had this year is placement. We usually get our first 2 runners in the top 2 or 3 runners, and after that, we don't have anyone to back up our top 2 runners. Usually Kevin and Matt, and our depth is our main problem this year. But we're a young team.
So you think that there is a future for Plymouth-Whitemarsh in
Oh,
cross country?
definitely. We have 5 or so young sophomores and freshmen that should do very well in the next few years as they mature and get more experience.
Such as Neil Vaughn.
Okay, now we see there's Kevin Cook and Matt Sandercock approaching the PW soccer field, just starting to near the finish.
At this point, they have passed the 2-mile point in the race, and they will go around the soccer field, around the outside of the football field, proceed in the track, and do 3/4 of a lap clockwise, where they would finish in front of the stands.
Okay, now we see some other runners finishing up the Miles Park portion.
You can tell how well Kevin is doing by looking at the back of the pack, seeing how far in front Kevin is from everyone else. Here you see Kevin again, running along the soccer field.
At this point, I think Kevin is running a very good pace. Although there's nobody to try and beat, to try and keep his pace up, hopefully he won't slow down.
That's a good point. I think that might be hurting him a little bit. I don't think this is one of his better races, especially on PW's courses, which is sort of an easy course, as Bill mentioned earlier.
It is an easy course, but the day was very hot. It was 85 degrees, and it's not easy to run in such heat because you lose a lot of your energy. The heat can really drain you. But our team this year is mainly individual. Our coach, Mr. McGowan, tells us to keep individual goals, and do your best time and just improve.
It always helps your time if you have somebody like running alongside of you or running just in front of you, just to try and keep your pace up, to try and catch the person in front of you. You always end up with a better time. Is that what you find, Bill?
Exactly. I found when I've been pushed by a runner, either right in front of me, right in back of me, I found I try to keep up with that person, and it helps me run faster.
Because if you're running alone like Kevin is now, it's tough to know. It's tough to be that aware of your pace. as because you really have no one to compare it to.
Would you say it would be better to be in front of the runner or behind the runner?
That depends on the runner. I like to be behind the runner. Kevin, I'm not sure how Kevin likes it. I think he likes to be even, but I like to be behind, knowing that I can try to pass him at the end.
Kevin is looking very good here as he approaches the track, and he appears to take this race easily. Here's Matt Sandercock right behind him.
Matt Sandercock is having a very fine race, one of the best of the year so far. This is the closest to Kevin he's been all year.
Here come two Cheltenham runners. That would have to be David Sandler and Shane Cushion of Cheltenham. David Sandler was not expected to do this well, but in this race he's come on strong.
Yeah, I'm surprised. Jason Potts usually is
Here
up
comes
there.
Jason Potts now.
It doesn't appear as if he's having, maybe the heat is bothering him.
Mm-hmm.
Kevin should be on the track by now. There he is.
There's Kevin.
As he comes around the final turn.
Kevin looks like he's putting on a final sprint to try to maybe get his best time. Kevin had an excellent race today. A little slower than usual, but I guess the heat affected him.
Mm-hmm.
But overall, a very sound race.
Kevin making the final turn around the track. It's just a very short straightaway now to the finish.
He has about 50 yards or so.
And here comes Kevin to awaiting Mr. McGowan.
Matt should be coming along soon behind him.
And here come the other runners. Here
There he
comes
is.
Matt, finishing second place. Mr. McGowan looks at the time.
Kevin Cook with a time of 15:33 for the first place finish for PW.
That's very far off his best time. His best time of the year is 15:02. I guess the heat really did affect him a
Comes
lot.
Cheltenham's David Sandler finishing. Time of 16:14. And right behind him is Shane Cushion.
Well, as I said, Cheltenham's picking up the placements here,
Comes-
first and second.
Jason Potts, also of Cheltenham.
It looks like Cheltenham has an easy win today.
Mhm.
Even though PW got the first two places, Cheltenham took the next 4 or 5.
Well, here
Perry
comes
Lou
Bill Adlin. There he goes. He's just picked off one Cheltenham
Vasquez.
runner. Joe Vasquez, that's Springfield. Vasquez, of course, Springfield's best runner, coming in at 9th position. So he came in with a time of 16:59. Bill Adlin gets a 16:58, pushing it at the end, picking up an 8th position to help PW. But it appears as if Cheltenham will win. They picked up 3rd place through 7th place for their top 5.
This looks like Phil Yanella, also of Cheltenham, finishing in the 10th position.
I would imagine the next PW runner we'll see is Neil Vaughn, a freshman who seems to have a promising career. Should he continue to practice and work hard?
Another thing for Cheltenham, they had a lot of their runners bunched together, and it's very good for a team to have their runners bunched together and that far up in the pack, because that means that prevents other teams from getting runners in between them to get higher places. So Cheltenham can get, say, in this race they got third through 7th place. They're preventing any other runners from getting lower places in between there.
We haven't seen any other PW runners finish yet, except for Bill Adlin and Kevin Cook and Matt Sandercock. So it would be probably impossible for them to pick up a win against Cheltenham, since they're lacking people.
Well, PW has already picked up 3 runners over Springfield's first runner, so looks as if Plymouth-Whitemarsh will take 1 win in this tri-meet.
Mm-hmm.
Before today, PW was 0-5 in the league. This would be their first league win of the year over Springfield. Springfield wasn't in our league last year. We ran them in a non-league race last year, but since they changed the leagues, they came over to our league, and they're now in our division.
Due to the strikes and things that have been
Yeah.
going on.
A lot of schools didn't want to stay in their league because competition was too strong for them. And our league, Suburban 1, wanted to expand and get more teams, more competition.
Cheltenham has a record before this race of 2-4. Looks like they're going to pick up 2 wins here.
Cheltenham, a strong performance, getting good outcomes from Shane Cushion, Jason Potts, Dave Sambler, who came up with one of his best races, probably. Scott Sharon and Perry Lederman. Phil Yanella also came in.
And for Springfield, the expected winner, Joe Vasquez, came in a 9th place. And Jeff Baxter also finished strong in 11th place.
Then we saw Ron Phillips passing a Cheltenham runner at the end of the race. And one thing I'd like to add is regular season races don't mean as much as the league race at the end of the year. You could have an 0-6 record in league competition, but when the league championships come around, that all goes in the trash can because it doesn't matter towards league championships. You could come in first in league championships and come in last in the regular season, but you could still win the leagues.
Okay, it looks like just the last of the few runners coming in. Looks like
that would be Andy Siegel. He definitely is being bothered today. This is not a good race for him. You know, he is young, but this is not a good race for him.
probably the heat, I would say, is affecting him. He looks very tired.
And he looks like he's bothering him very much. He doesn't have arm movement.
So far finished for Plymouth-Whitemarsh, of course, besides those top runners, were Neil Vaughn, who came in 17th place with a time of 19:24. And we just saw Ron Phillips come in at 22nd. And in front of him was Jason Monroe at 20th place. And this is Andy Siegel. He's coming in. Roger Topp just finished it about this time. Roger Topp with a time of 20 minutes and 43 seconds, and Andy Siegel has completed the race at 21 minutes.
Roger Topp is a sophomore on the team. He was on the team last year, and after he improved his time by over a minute this race, and he usually comes in last for our team. This time he beat Andy, so Roger's improving a lot.
Hopefully Roger will improve, and as the years go on, he could be a very promising runner for PW. You see some more Cheltenham finishers.
These would be mostly Springfield also. And
come to Springfield. Looks like
these runners have no bearing on the outcome of point totals.
The outcome of the race is decided by the first 5 people for each team. The top 5 people on each team count
towards the placement, and then you add up their places, and whoever has the lower score will win.
Exactly.
PW versus Cheltenham, we have those results in. PW captured 1st, 2nd, 8th, 11th, and 12th for a total of 34 points against Cheltenham. And Cheltenham got 3rd, 5th,
3rd through 7th
for a total of 25 points. They also captured 25 points. So Cheltenham did beat PW 25-34. PW, on the other hand, came up with a big win against Springfield by a score of 19-38. So Plymouth-Whitemarsh captures 1 win, but Cheltenham beats Plymouth-Whitemarsh in this tri-meet. I'm sure Cheltenham crushed Springfield as well.